nightmare.
Hello and welcome to Cinema Subculture, the podcast where we discuss everything strange, obscure and downright messed up in the world of movies. My name's Gary.
And I'm Simon.
Welcome to episode 22.
22.
Today we are discussing Julien Donkey-Boy,
Julien Donkey-Boy.
directed by Harmony Korine
Harmony Korine.
from 2000, I think it was.
2000. 99 it says here.
Okay,
I think that was the film festival though.
right.
September and then October it was wide release. I'm looking at the wiki page just now. Just, I don't know, again, it's not, Wikipedia is not always correct.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just, it says here, directed by Harmony Korine, uncredited.
Right.
Just because it does, I mean, did it not say that at the beginning?
It says Harmony Korine at the end.
Yeah,
That's part
sure.
of the dogma.
Right,
Thing.
right.
Because when the
okay.
dogma rules is the director can't be credited.
I remember you telling me that. That's
Aye.
right. Okay. Do you have the list of dogma rules there before? Do you want to go for it? Do a wee outline of the manifesto before we?
Well, this is officially the first dogma film we've discussed.
Yeah.
We've done some Lars von Trier, but I think this is dogma number 6.
Right. Okay.
So basically, Dogma 95 was a movement pioneered by Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg.
Mm-hmm.
They came up with a sort of manifesto for a new style of filmmaking, which was a rejection of the kind of artifice of Hollywood and sort of commercial filmmaking. And it was about just sort of simplifying everything down. So there was 10 dogma rules.
Right. Okay.
We'll lay them out.
Go for it. Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well. Lay it bare.
So, number 1, must shoot on location, and all props must be found within that location.
Mhm.
You can't bring anything in.
Okay.
Only diegetic sound can be used. Must be shot handheld. 4, must be shot in colour. 5, no optical work is to be done. 6, no superficial action like murders or explosions or stuff like that.
Okay.
7, no temporal or geographical alienation.
Right.
8, no genre films.
Right.
9, must be shot on Academy 35mm.
Mhm.
And 10, director can't be credited.
Got you. For some reason, I hadn't read these before. I maybe you told me them before,
Mhm.
but I hadn't went back and looked at them before I watched the film. But for some reason, I thought this was shot digitally. I thought that was one. Aye.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
the Academy 35mm is one of the kind of stupidest rules, because the nature of dogma films, like shooting on video, was
Aye.
what defined them in a
Uh-huh.
way.
Aye.
So that rule was, I don't know if
Yeah,
it
I
was
was
ever
just gonna say,
followed.
because it's like it screams digital. This, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
So nobody listens to Rule 9.
Right.
It's like you get to the bottom of the list and it says
Yeah.
like you know it's those things you read the whole list before you do anything.
Mm.
Remember we used to get them in school, and then it gets to the last one. It says don't do anything that you saw
Oh,
above. Just make a film, motherfucker.
Aye.
That seems like you know what it is. But aye, what was the other thing you say? Like they shot like in, was it a family home or like a house
Yeah,
you
his
grew up growing up in?
grandmother's
Yeah.
house.
Just thinking, you know, but like the props and stuff like can only exist what's
Right.
there. Well, as it says, grand, go and buy something,
Alright.
a certain thing, and bring it into the house, and then I'll go, oh, you know,
Yeah.
who certifies that? Who, like, you know, because there's a certificate at the beginning of the
Yeah.
film that's signed off by
Yeah.
the four, and to certify this as a dogma film.
Mm.
How do they?
Well, the thing is,
it's that badge of honour, like
it's
trust.
It's based on trust to some extent, because the director has to write out, confess their sins to what rules they actually broke.
Right. Okay.
Because I don't think any dogma film has followed the rules to
Okay.
the
Right.
letter. So
So right.
yeah, Von Trier said to some
It
extent.
really is. Don't do anything.
Yeah, I think Von Trier said to some extent it's about how you can push it,
Yeah.
push the rules to kind of bend them, and
Uh-huh.
sort of. It's more of a
Right.
kind of see what you can do with this type of thing,
Mhm.
with this sort of setup, rather than
It's
you
like
didn't-
kind of
yeah.
like as much as possible,
it's about
where possible.
it's about creativity, trying to
Sure.
do something by restricting
Yeah, I mean,
your
definitely,
resources,
and you can see that within the film. You know, what I mean, it's never going to be accused of like going like the kind of Hollywood
Right,
route
aye.
of kind of high production like craziness. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can see that it is kind of guerrilla filmmaking,
Yeah.
basically. You know what I mean? So I get what you mean, but that's you know, kind of weird. I mean, in that way, like many films could write in and say they're dogma films to
Well,
try it has to be certified.
mm.
Cheating bastards. So has there ever been one that's been made a film? Sorry, a dogma film that's been made that's followed off 10 rules.
I don't know, to be honest. I think there's maybe like 100 that were official
Right.
till they gave up certifying them. I
Right.
think.
Right.
So.
What does that say about the whole thing?
Right.
Kind of like, oh, this was a bad idea, guys. Oh, it doesn't matter. Just do what you want. Fair enough. So that's the dogma setup
Mhm.
for this film. Obviously, I mean, like Gummo, kind of followed some of that, didn't it?
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I know that there was. Well, I don't know, but like, I take it there was a lot of maybe the stuff they used in the film wasn't necessarily like found on location, things like that.
Don't know if that was handheld cinematography as
Got you,
much.
got
Can't
you.
quite recall it.
Yeah,
But,
that's certainly that. I remember having like a cleaner look than this
yeah.
has.
Yeah.
This feels
That
a
was
lot of time.
35, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, was it right?
Yeah.
So that right.
Right.
Do you want to then if we're now getting to film, do you want to give us a wee bit of a rundown of the plot, Gary?
The film follows the character of Julien, who is a schizophrenic, and his family. It's a sort of character study more than a plot-based film. Just follows them in sort of in their day-to-day lives. His sister Pearl is pregnant with his baby. It seems.
Yeah, that's what
There is an abusive father
yeah.
played by Werner Herzog,
Yeah,
and there's a brother who's into wrestling.
it was really interesting.
Yeah, and the grandmother. They all live in one house. Don't exactly know where it's set, but I don't know if it's defined.
No, I didn't. It's shot, I believe, in credits, I think in New Jersey, but
Okay,
I couldn't see. I didn't see anything within the
Right.
film that said,
Mhm.
you know, who it was. Yep. So was this like a kind of? Did you come across this after having seen like things like Kids and Gum, or was this beforehand, or?
probably around the same time.
Sure.
I think I can't remember. But
Probably just off the back of one
yeah,
another kind
yeah.
of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so comparing it with Gummo, in some ways I think it's more conventional in a sense, in the sense that Gummo was just a kind of series of vignettes with different characters.
That's right.
This is a
with
bit more locked
a
in.
slight connective tissue.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit more locked in a sort of conventional film. But I think what's interesting about this, it goes a bit further with the experimental side of the form with this compared with Gummo. So, continuing that idea, like sort of the realism, obviously, all the sort of dogma side of it. Also, it's another sort of version of Kareen's aesthetic where it's sort of the bizarre, sort of finding sort of beauty in sort of the ugliness, quote unquote ugliness. Sort of stuff he likes to put on screen.
Yes, he's taken pretty much like story and basis of the character of Julian from his uncle.
Yeah.
I believe it's apparently it's pretty close, I think, to like a lot of the stuff that he went through. And he was saying because of the shot in the house that he grew up in, and he saw a lot of that, the kind of same that actual, he saw the stuff happening with his uncle. You know, I think he said he saw his uncle throwing his gran downstairs
Right, yeah.
at one point. His gran plays the grandmother, doesn't he?
Aye.
Doesn't she? Sorry. So I thought it was really interesting, like look at schizophrenia. Yeah, I've never really met anyone with like or not that bad, you know, kind of level of schizophrenia. I thought it was really honest, or really raw, like real, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like uncomfortably real at points, especially at the beginning. You know, you just don't know where we're going with it. But I couldn't help just jumping around. I couldn't help but think, like going through it, like see if his dad wasn't so fucked up, maybe he
Right.
would have been turned out a little
Right.
more better adjusted.
Right.
I kept thinking, like, I wonder if he was all right when he was wee. When he was Chris's age, do you think he was like, you know, the younger brother? Is that? I think it's the younger brother.
Yeah.
Wonder if he was all right then, and
Right,
you know how
okay.
he's fucking get the call hosing him and everything.
Yeah,
Then he
yeah.
turns into Julian goes mental. But yeah, it was I really that the dad was a class act character. I thought he was brilliant. I think some of that stuff was ad libbed. Well, the way that it was said, making the making of.
Yeah, well, I think most of the script was improvised.
Yeah, sure, sure. But the stuff about Dirty Harry and stuff like that, and oh, it was genius.
Yeah, he's got so many good lines.
Yeah. What was it? Am I sensitive? He just kept saying it because he was drinking that stuff. He was drinking out the shoe. Oh, and dancing about with the gas mask on and stuff.
Yeah.
The only time I thought he seemed normal was when he was with his pal in the arms.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool. I liked that. I really liked that. The conversation there. But he was a class act for, but that was like the kind of really enjoyable. But the part that you kind of almost felt this is kind of, it was like kind of almost farcical and stuff with that. You know, obviously it's based in it's very. Obviously, abuse is not a funny thing, but in this, the way he was putting it, he was playing it.
Yeah, I think the way he delivers those lines.
Yeah, it really is. It's like it was good. So that kind of like was a good comparison, like, you know, contrast to the kind of darker side of where Julian was Julian was going through. What did you make of the opening? Does he kill that boy?
Well, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
It's not exactly clear, but he seems to be sort of burying him. There's a sort of scuffle, and then it seems to be. But I don't know. Maybe he's not actually dead, because there's nothing explicitly that would seem to be able enough to kill someone. But yeah, that's an interesting way to start it. Because
it's funny halfway through the film,
right.
How this guy run up to the house covered in muck. You bastard!
Yeah, I think Kareem is going for a kind of, as you were saying, like a real portrait of mental illness, rather than a sort of Hollywoodized version.
Yeah, with the happy ending and the kind of you know, you almost feel sorry. I didn't really necessarily feel sorry for Julian most of the, I didn't have pity for him.
Yeah,
I kind of, you know, he was out there and he was kind of living his life to, you know, in the kind of fucked up way that it ended up being. But
yeah, so that's an interesting way to start it, because it's where immediately kind of faced with a kind of nasty side of the character, the nasty side of it. So I think what Kareem does, he shows that the sort of duality of it without
making it
kind of
focus.
Yeah, I think he mentioned in the making of, like, how mental illness is sometimes kind of fuzzy and like something like Rain Man maybe. Because he's obviously has direct experience of it, so he saw the kind of nastiness of it. It
was also good from a standpoint, because usually when, like, you maybe get a film like this, you meet the character and they are kind of like, you know, you kind of pity them, but like you feel sorry for them. You know, you're made to kind of like fall for them, the character.
Yeah.
And then it kind of builds up to them maybe losing control and doing something that ends up, you know.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that kind. Whereas coming in and giving that straight away, and then after that, really, he doesn't do it. There's nothing, like, he's a completely like loving, kind of straightforward in his head. You know, like, good character. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting, because it almost does two jobs, because it takes that away, you waiting for something to happen, because something's kind of already happened. You kind of forget about it. But it also, like, you don't know if he's going to go again. Maybe like something else is going to trigger him off. Which it doesn't really happen, you know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that, because usually is the kind of traditional Hollywood film would lead you in with the kind of softy, then go to a big something, and then maybe the third act would be a resolution, you know what I mean? Whereas this, it kind of gives you that up front, saying this is the kind of nasty side of it, but that's not what we're really going to focus on. But that can happen. You know.
Yeah, what I liked about how it kind of how the other characters treated the schizophrenia, it was always there, but they weren't immediately always calling it out type thing, because what that scene with when he does the poem and then it's a Dirty Harry, I like how the dad, he does the poem, and the dad's like, no, 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 no. But he doesn't kind of call him, say, wait, don't do the poem, don't say that, like, because he's just been like, schizophrenic. He criticises the poem.
You can't just keep saying chaos.
Yeah,
nothing rhymes with chaos. That doesn't even rhyme. He's like, chaos rhymes with chaos, dad. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then like, I had it's two arts. I thought that was quite nice. You were saying that because it was like that's just like a dad thing to say. It's like that's too artsy. Like turn that music down. It's too loud. You know. Like,
and like a Hollywood film, that scene would maybe be the characters would be like it would go sort of really melodramatic, and the cats were like, right, need to help this guy. Like,
and
get him
somebody'd slam a plate and walk out the road, and somebody start greeting. And somebody tell it's okay, Julian, it's not your fault, you know. It would be something like really quite patronising like that. But I just kind of gives it to him and says that's shite. You ever seen a Clint Eastwood movie? That's fucking the stuff. I liked it. I was waiting on, like, you know, because he was telling about the shootout, and he was like, they're telling about all the bullets, and that was brilliant. And then he was like talking about do you think you're lucky, you know? But didn't he say punk? And I was like,
Aye, so it was not really, we weren't leading towards some kind of salvation of the character that you would normally find in films about this, but which is good.
Because again, that in this, obviously, I mean, his uncle's. I mean, he said he wanted his uncle to star in it. You know, but he couldn't get him out of the institute he was in. So obviously, it's not something that goes away or resolves or like magically. You know, you go on a Vegas weekend counting cards with your brother and come back and you're all right. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, it's quite again an honest and real portrayal. What was his like? He was hanging about with his friends when he went bowling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it took me like to the next time we met them to realise that they were all like partially sighted or blind. Like, how did he fit in with that?
Well, that seemed to be some kind of.
Well, I know because the albino guy, he had bad sight. I know like, when you lose that, you can become you're partially sighted.
Right. Yeah, that seemed to be some kind of day centre or something. So I don't know if he was kind of helping out there because there's one scene when he's like mopping the floor.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, so.
So I wasn't sure, but like I liked those kind of scenes. That was quite interesting. And the little girl was talking to Chloe Sevigny about like she thought she could see fine.
Yeah.
I've heard that like, and not like people who need glasses, like kids who need glasses.
Right.
Have maybe been going on. I mean, my niece, she got glasses maybe when she was like 5 or 6. But like apparently the doctor said like she probably thought she'd see fine.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, and then she like glasses, and then she's realising that she couldn't, but because she'd never known anything else, her brain just your brain just accounts for it.
Okay.
It's like there was one thing. Well, I work at an eye clinic, right? And there was something that had happened with this like kid's eye when he was younger, and it just never like something had happened, and the eye was actually healthy now. But it never switched on.
All right.
Right, but they didn't know, like, and because there was something wrong with it, and then it went away. But it was past that age, the point of development when your brain develops these links with your eyes and everything, right? And sets up. So the brain had just stopped using it, and there was no way for that to come back. And it was I didn't know, you know, it's really weird. Like it just like I can't remember what it was specifically, but it was. Say like somebody put a patch over your eye, like say from you're born. Like your brain would just be like, there's nothing there, so it eventually just stops using it. So that even if someone took the hand away from it, some sick fuckers going to try that, and it's going to make it. They're going to make a film with that guy. But yeah. So it was I quite like that. You know, as she was saying, she thought she had normal vision. That was quite a nice. That's a very like clean kind of speech. You know what I mean? And I know he didn't technically. Well, I don't know if he wrote it, but like. It was something he would capture, you know what I mean?
Aye.
I thought it was quite interesting. The kind of, I thought it from watching the film, but you know, it was confirmed watching the making of the hidden cameras thing.
Right, yeah.
A lot of it felt like that, but then I wasn't sure how far he'd went with that kind of thing. But yeah, it was. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah,
because at no point, I mean, Chloe Sevigny was talking about she thought it might not get anything from the scenes, but at no point did I feel that it was like. like forced or waning, you know what I mean, from interesting, you know.
No, definitely. That's an interesting thing he does. It's something that other Dogma films haven't really done, I don't think. That sort of doing the spy cam thing. Yeah, so just sort of another sort of way to capture sort of reality or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think of the visual style of the film?
It was quite as I say, well, I'm glad you've confirmed to me that it was video,
Yeah.
and not 35mm. I liked it. I thought it was like some points, because it was almost as if they were using like digital zoom, if you know what I mean,
Right, aye.
to like, because they were so far away from at times. It almost started looking like some sort of crazy like painting a lot of times, with the movement and the kind of the really grainy, you know, almost unfocused a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it
Aye.
was really. It felt like you were in this bubble with it. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of claustrophobic in
Aye.
a way, because you were in it so deep with the characters.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, of all the kind of Dogma films, this is kind of the one where the technique is most important in a way, because it's kind of expressionistic, because he's trying to present what's in Julian's head. So the visual style,
yeah,
the sort of the digital is more. It's more of a prominent thing to the actual story compared to like the Idiots or Celebration. But what's interesting as well was it was DV, then to 16mm,
right,
then
okay.
to 35.
I wondered, because like, you know, there's a heavy grain on it, and it doesn't look like a video grain. You know, like, usually with video you get a noise.
Aye.
And I wondered that, because especially with the, you know, how there's a series of stills first time he kind of meets up with his buddies, and the grain was still moving in that, so I thought that doesn't look like video. Usually you don't get that if it's video. You wouldn't probably get a grain structure moving. But so it was right to 16 then to 35.
So I don't know like if the transfers came off of like 35mm prints or where they came from.
Right.
Well, they must have came from Film Elements at least. It
You mean
seems.
DVD? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right.
Yeah, because as you're saying, they've got the kind of filmic grain.
Yeah.
structure.
So I would think so. Maybe come for the 16.
Could be. I don't know. Yeah.
But, no, I mean, I liked the all adds to it. As I say, it's and then even the end, like right at the end, it's kind of like the same shot from the beginning, but it's even more like almost defocused looking, and it really looks like just shapes. You know what I mean? It's really quite nice.
Yeah.
But it's like grain's something I've really come like from the invent of even high def. Like really come to like. I've really come to love it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just something about it, I don't know, and especially in this, because there is such a kind of richness to the colours, and you know, it's quite a kind of almost sepia tone and a lot of the stuff. It just looks really, as I say, it looks like a paint in motion almost.
Yeah.
You know?
That's kind of how it became a Dogma film, because he was looking for a new DP.
Right.
Because the guy that shot Gummo wasn't available, so then he was talking to Thomas Vinterberg about getting Anthony Dodd Mantle, who was like the kind of the Dogma DP, and since he was kind of one of the pioneers of digital shooting in video, so he shot a lot of Dogma stuff, and he's worked with Von Trier since, and then he's also worked with like Danny Boyle.
Right.
He shot like 28 Days Later, which is standard def video, I think as well. And he shot some later 127 hours. I shot that. Probably some more Boyle stuff, but so he was going to work with Anthony Dodd Mantle, and then that's how he kind of hooked up with those guys, and they thought, alright, let's make it a Dogma film.
Sure.
So it's quite interesting.
How did Bremner get kind of involved with it?
I think Kareem was just a fan. I think he'd saw him in the Mike Leigh film Naked.
Okay.
So he liked that performance. There was, I think Kareem said he wanted DiCaprio to do it at first.
Right.
But DiCaprio wasn't that keen. As if he played like the guy in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Aye, right.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, Caprio was just coming off a Titanic at that point,
Right,
so he's probably like kind of like good. You know how much money I can make. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't his only thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Leonardo DiCaprio, if you listen to the podcast. But no, I thought like Bremner's performance was really strong, man. It's because I was sitting watching, and I loved him in Trainspotting. I think that's probably the only other thing I've seen him in. But I mean, this just blows it. It's like a different guy. The first time I heard his American accent,
Aye.
I was a wee bit kind of, because you see him and you know he's Scottish. I don't know, something, it sounded a wee bit off at first, but once you hear it with all the rest of the characters, it's right in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so unbelievable. Just like totally in that, lost in that character.
Aye. Yeah, it went quite method. I think because he visited the uncle, yeah.
Aye.
And then,
it was he listening to him sometimes
I
in
think
the
he made some
headphones?
recordings and he
Sure.
did the
The tree of life thing, the family tree thing was hilarious. I thought that who was she talking to? Is this my family tree?
Yeah. So and then to improvise all that material, it was pretty phenomenal. I don't know if he kind of took some of the stuff that the uncle actually said to kind of as his sort of source material.
Sure.
But there's one monologue about like the Hitler and all that.
Yeah, that was genius. Yeah, and he had the gun, he was holding him up, and then he was, I'm all kidding, it's okay, come in. I'm all joking, it's fine. Oh yeah, I mean, that was brilliant. And then he was telling about his one rule, and that, it's like saying it because his family doesn't like Nazis or something like that. He says, that's my rule, that's it, that's fine. But that was really, really good. I mean, it was just, again, that holding the whole, like, kind of 2-3 minutes of the film, just to, himself, like, nothing happening really, was really strong.
I think he did the accent the whole time, like off.
I thought that I wondered that in the making of. I heard him talking to Karine. I wondered that. I thought it was interesting. We were talking about the dad again, but like some of his abuse seemed like he didn't want to do it himself, because he was trying to get like Julian to tell his sister that she would she wouldn't be able to play the harp, and that she was a slut.
Right.
And then she was trying to get him to tell him to slap his own face.
Yeah,
that was brilliant. Like,
right.
If I was that stupid, I would slap my own face. Slap your own face. It seems, and even when she was trying to tell her to sit up straight at the dinner table in the beginning, he was making the grandma tell her.
Yeah,
it was almost like sometimes he didn't know what he was like. I'm going to abuse these Waynes like verbally, but no idea myself. It's a bit mean. I'll get somebody else to do it for me. Almost turning them against each other,
That was the scene where he becomes most kind of vicious. That slap the face scene. It's maybe the one scene where the schizophrenia is, because he's saying like if you hit your face hard enough, you might recover or something.
Wake yourself up.
Yeah.
Dad seems to be this like kind of deeply, I was gonna say honourable, but you know what I mean. Like he's got this kind of, he's just trying to make the kids macho and like respect, like he's some sort of thing, about making them certain things. But it doesn't seem like he's like any better himself. I mean, he can sit in his room with like try to get a natural high, like Everest. It's kind of weird, whereas he seems to be like as if he comes from like a place where he would have been more respected person, you know what I mean? Almost like, he was saying when he was younger, he was in that cigarette thing.
Oh yeah.
And Chris manages to do it, and he's like, in a couple of weeks you'll manage to do it. You fell over, you've got to get back up and smoke at the end of the dishes. But so that character's like kind of weird, because he does seem like, it's almost like he thinks he does think he's better than them, but like he doesn't seem to like do anything. None of them really do.
Yeah, so I just want to say something about the kind of technical side of the film,
sure,
which is quite impressive. What Karine does is quite interesting, because Dogma was normally associated with a realism that it was kind of handed down from like Italian neorealism, the New Wave, French New Wave, some like documentary styles like direct cinema, and then people like Cassavetes. So this is kind of going down the chain. Obviously, that's exemplified in things like the handheld camera, like the improvisation, no script, shooting on video, and also what Karine does with like the kind of the spy cam we were talking about. But at the same time, he does a similar thing to Von Trier in some ways, where it's realism, but at the same time, it's very constructed through the editing.
Yeah.
And well, it's a lot of montage cutting, like jump cuts.
There's a really big kind of
Yeah,
strong jump cut
yeah,
section,
yeah.
isn't there?
A lot of freeze frame as well, and things that are kind of from film, but the characters look like kind of doing stop motion type thing.
Yep.
So that's quite interesting because I think what Kareen aspires to is some kind of cinematic truth, but it's not the kind of, it's using some sort of tools of realism, but it's not using that exclusively. If you follow me, what Andre Bazin, the French film theorist, he sort of proposed the idea that cinema should aspire to truth by trying to recreate reality. So he was a fan of like Italian neorealism and people like Orson Welles, and Jean Renoir, who did things like trying to make it as real as possible in a sense of long takes, deep focus. You know what the neorealists did with improvisation and using non-professional actors, real stories. So, and he was opposed to things. Well, he wasn't opposed to, but he saw people like the Soviet montage directors and directors who followed that path, like Hitchcock, as sort of, you're kind of cheating in a way because you're constructing a reality for the audience. So the Russian theorist and filmmaker Zyga Vertov, his idea of Kino Pravda, cinema truth, was that cinema should aspire to truth by rejecting Hollywood style illusionism, like the rejection of that kind of narrative, but he didn't see a contradiction with constructing images. Because they were obviously big into the montage. So I think Kareen's somewhere in there.
I mean, as you said, like I think like when you said it's kind of like realism in the mind, as if you were coming from the mind of Julian himself. It's almost like it's kind of all the cutting and the style is almost an expression of how the schizophrenia is coming through and within him. You know how maybe Kareen sees that, or I guess can only imagine, or has experienced how his uncle is. You know, the kind of cutting away from things, changing what they're talking about, almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of getting locked into loops. As Julian seems to in the film sometimes when he's talking. So I mean, I see what you mean. That definitely lies, but in that I think it is, but it's definitely still. It still feels like real. You know what I mean? But it's like kind of a stylistic real. You know what I mean? Everything within it seems real, but the editing obviously you definitely feel a style there.
Yeah.
But I think its only purpose is to accentuate the kind of the actual illness,
right?
Or the point of view of the character. It's not being used to make you feel something or to pull something out that isn't there. Like in a lot of Hollywood films you find, or more traditional constructed things. So
yeah, because how I kind of got to that, I was thinking, I was like breaking down, right, this film is like a sort of point on the development of realism. Then because you've got all of that dogma thing, but then I'm thinking, no, it's actually quite at the same time it's quite constructed, because Kareen's very into form and playing with form, and there's a lot of kind of shifts where seem to be breaking out at different time periods and things like that, and it's all kind of patched together, sort of collage style.
Sure.
That's something that Von Trier as well did later. Like his Dogma film, The Idiots, was pretty straight. But then later with like Antichrist and films like that, he's been meshing that, the realism of the handheld and all that, with some more abstract type images and things like that. So yeah, so I think Kareen's aspiring to sort of truth rather than realism. Yeah. Although they can work together.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that he seems to have captured feels real. It's the kind of any construction has been in the editing room. You know what I mean? If you know, so it's not like, obviously it's not like special effects, or as you say, like, you know, making up like kind of explosion things like that. So it's not like that kind of construction. You know what I mean? So everything still feels, everything that is there is real. It's just, as I say, you say, it's just the way he's kind of put it together, and it's kind of trying to say something with the, like, outside the narrative almost,
Yeah.
of the film. Did you like? How did you feel about the ice skating scene with the, like, her falling, the baby and stuff like that? I felt that was. It felt like that was almost the kind of most traditional part of the film, because you kind of knew it was going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It was like you're almost waiting for it to happen.
Aye.
But it was nice the way it played out though, because you thought it was. I thought it was going to happen a few times before that, and then I kind of forgot about it enough to think, he's let us go this long. It's probably not going to happen. It's not what you're going to think. And then it just happened, you know. So it was kind of still. It did work. But you did see it coming a mile off, I thought.
Right.
Like, that's the last thing I'd do if I was pregnant, would be go ice skating. You know what I mean? Because it's not so good.
Aye. Yeah, I think that was a point where they had where the story was going to go.
Right.
But it's fine. I just felt it was a wee bit melodramatic, maybe. Just how Chloe Sevigny plays it. I thought it was a wee bit. She does go crazy, the screaming and that. But
and the wee lassie that shows way that doesn't have a good eyesight.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you're blind, no Dave. She wasn't doing nothing. She was just dancing still.
Yeah.
It's alright, somebody's screaming, isn't it?
Aye.
You still don't have to see it, you know. But yeah, I just felt it was a bit maybe
slightly contrived.
Aye,
falls right on the
yeah.
belly.
Aye, exactly. You couldn't have, go to the side a wee bit of that, or. But because it looked kind of like as if she went down to her knees then smack.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like it was almost as if she was trying to do it, you know.
Right,
but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, what followed with her going to the hospital and stuff like that, and then like Julien like stealing the baby. What did you think about that whole like section? Was that
great scene? Yeah, that was kind of caught on the fly as well. All that stuff in the bus.
right? Yeah. I thought that.
Yeah.
I was kept thinking like, if this is, because I was thinking as I was watching, I think this was caught like spy cam. These people must have been freaking the fuck out. It's like, it was really creepy. Like, you know, because you didn't know what was going on with them.
Powerful scene.
Definitely.
Showing that, I think it shows the character Julien comes out there as a kind of loving guy.
Yeah, it really. It almost feels like almost like a normal reaction, if you know what I mean, to like losing your baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like, that's what you'd want today, is take. It doesn't matter. You'd want to take it home. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what you'd want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a normal reaction, but not something that somebody that didn't have a mental illness would necessarily follow through.
Yeah.
But you know, it felt quite an honest kind of like, he just wants to take it home. You know. I thought other than that, the bit was set, like, you know, the end, I thought she did really well as well. You know, I thought her and Bremner were really good together. I mean the whole cast was really, I thought, really good. Like, I thought the brother Chris didn't get much to do. Well, he gets sprayed with the hose and that, and he was climbing up the stairs with just his horns.
Get to wrestle a trash
bin?
can.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, is that where trash can first came from? Yeah, like it was like his dad seen out plastic it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So, is there a key thing you take away from Julien Donkey-Boy? One thing you think of?
If I had to pick one, maybe it'd be Ewan Bremner's performance.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of root of the film.
Definitely.
There's other amazing things like cinematography and that, but I think that's kind of central peg.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I totally agree with you in Brown's performance, but for me, so I'm simply not saying the same thing. Herzog's like performance, just like that, cut me up. Like every time he was, and I just like, you shouldn't like him, the guy, but like, I don't know, something about the character and the way he brings it. It just it stood out for me.
Yeah.
And the look. I mean, definitely the whole look of the thing. It's almost, it shouldn't look nice. Like, you look at it at first and you're like, it looks really scratchy. You know, like, you really kind of dingy.
Yeah.
But like as it goes on, it just kind of becomes this, just the style of the film, and it's really nice to see that, you know, like it doesn't have to be high definition, like, you know, pristine
Right. Yeah.
clarity. You know what I mean? It just has to be what it is. So yeah, be what it is.
Right.
So I think that kind of wraps up our chat on Julien Donkey-Boy. What do you think? Is your favourite of his, or I'm still kind of leaning towards Gummo. I think.
It's definitely they two up there.
Yeah.
His films after that don't quite hit the same mark.
Sure.
But no, I think of all the Dogma films, it's probably my favourite.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm enjoying kind of seeing them. You know, that's obviously seen kids and Gummo now in this, so it's quite. I've kind of got an interest to see Trash Humper, but you said it wasn't that great.
Maybe worth seeing, but.
And obviously we're looking forward to Spring Breakers when it comes out, which looks like a rapid departure from the weird.
Yeah.
Maybe get, you know, some weird in there. But certainly it looks a little more mainstream. By the fact that there's trailers out there on like actual websites and things like, and people seem to know about it is different, I think. So cool. Okay, so that's us finished talking about the film. So now we're going to move on to Random Shit. This is the part of the podcast where we discuss any news, any film reviews, or, you know, out with the main film we do, or maybe some pickups, or sometimes just some random stuff. So first of all, Gary, will we hit the news?
So there's a Disney sale going on just now.
All right. Really?
2 for 1. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. No, not at all.
Buy one, get one free.
Is that everywhere, right?
It's not. It's who's doing it? Zavi's doing it. Sainsbury's are doing it. I don't think Amazon are doing it.
Right, no, because I haven't noticed it, because I generally go to Amazon, but I was on Zavi the other day. But
right. Play.com maybe, I'm not sure.
They're kind of weird just now. They still seem to be doing offers, but it's all kind of aftermarket sales, like, or third party, you know.
Right, yeah.
Although Zavi do like business to them, weirdly enough.
Alright.
Because they've taken on a lot of Play's exclusive steelbooks and stuff like that. But sometimes you go, there's an offer on like a daily thing, you know, do daily offers, and you'll go and then it's Zavi. Alright. That's selling on Play. It's kind of weird. But yeah, no, I didn't realise that.
Right, I've ordered a few things.
Sure. Anything? Well, you can leave it to us. No, until you look at that, man. That's
it's not the great selection.
Yeah.
It's mostly Pixar as usual. And then I've kind of got most of the classics there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm kind of holding off for things like the Peter Pan and stuff like that. I'm going to try and get the States version, just because it's the Diamond edition. I think the special features are the same, actually, though.
They're not.
Actually. They're not. Is it a second disc?
I've ordered that as well, actually.
The Peter Pan.
Yeah.
The UK one?
No, US.
Sure. How much did you get it for?
It's going at something like 13 on Amazon.com just now, which is alright.
Dollars or pounds?
No, pounds.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. I think I'm gonna definitely pick that up at some point.
Yeah.
But I was looking at one of them. I think it might have been, I can't remember, but anyway, it seemed to have special features on it. But is it 2 discs, 2 Blu-rays in the US one?
There's a triple disc one, which is not the one I got.
There's a triple disc and a.
Yeah, there's the one that they cut a gold cover and then there's a blue cover.
But it's only the extra disc, and that's a digital copy.
Oh, right.
And that's the only difference.
Right, okay.
But,
yeah, I mean the additional special features in the diamonds don't seem that amazing.
Right.
But I think it's like some deleted scenes and then it's a feature in the 9 old men.
Right.
But it's like they're kids or something.
Right.
So it's not.
Are the Diamond Edition US ones slim case like the US cases, or are they thicker? Like, I presume they'd be like US, but I've never really seen like many.
Never occurred to me actually. I don't have any of them.
Because I was thinking, because obviously the slip case and stuff like that, I don't know how it looks. But it'd be interesting to find out. At least you've done it, so if it's shite, I don't have to get it now.
Right.
But yeah, like, even just the artwork, they seem to be making no effort really with their Disney releases at the moment.
Yeah.
Over here.
in the States, well, you've got Hunchback of Notre
That's
Dame,
right. Yeah,
Mulan.
Mulan. How's the other one?
Aladdin's up for pre-order here, but it's not. Doesn't have a street date in the US, but I think it is scheduled for spring
Right.
for the next Diamond.
That's one I'll probably try and
Brother
get from the
Bear
States
as
as well. Right. Not really bothered in much with Mulan or Hunchback.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing Hunchback. I've only seen it once Hunchback, but
Right.
Aladdin I'd like to get in Peter Pan. Quite Little Mermaid's out, I think.
That's
soon.
November. Yeah.
I would imagine it would get a Diamond over here, but
Well,
see the thing is, I think people they're just saying like people will buy it anyway.
Yeah, it looks like they're just scrapping the Diamonds here.
Really, because I mean Aladdin you would have thought would have been automatic.
Yeah.
And I suppose Peter Pan as well, but I don't know. It sucks. Yeah, it really does because it's especially when you go to the bother trying to get them.
Aye.
You know.
But they have been cranking them out actually, in the States at least.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that many titles that haven't got a release or a scheduled release.
Sure.
Because there's quite a few coming this year.
Right.
I know Winnie the Pooh's coming. Well, Jungle Boots is going to be the Diamond for 2014.
Right.
The first one, I think. What else?
Has Robin Hood come?
That's not got a date yet.
Right.
Sword in the Stone hasn't got a date. I think I counted there's only like 10 that don't have anything.
Right.
That announced. So.
How did we go onto that? Oh, yeah, the Disney sale.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember that. I was thinking, where were we at? Yeah. I mean, looking at it, it's what about 101 Dalmatians? Does that get a Diamond edition in the States?
Not yet. I think I read that might be one for 2014, along with the Jungle Book.
Sure.
Saw that get released here so early compared with it's not even out yet. But
cool. But yeah, I'll have to have a look. As I say, some of them, the prices, some of the Pixar stuff, it's like you can maybe get cheaper, but like Toy Story and things like that, at $16.95 you can get the 3 of them for that price. But that's fair enough. But cool. So as you know, the Evil Dead remake's just been released, Gary, in the States.
Right.
Or it's pending release, but the reviews are all kind of out and things like that. And so the reviews seem to be generally favourable. But it seems like a weird time. Like Raimi was being interviewed recently, and he kind of was being asked about Evil Dead 4, and he kind of put out the comment that he'd still like to do it. And then he said, in fact, me and I think he says his brother, but it must be Ivan Raimi, are planning to work on the script this summer.
Right.
As if like it's quite. It kind of reignited the kind of fan flames of this might be coming finally, after these years. But I think Bob Tappert said that if it does happen, it will be like it'll be like Army of Darkness 2 rather than Evil Dead 4. Even though it is the same thing more or less. I think probably more to like not confused with the remake, because I think it's getting a sequel. Like they've already greenlit a sequel for that. I think the director's already working on the draft of the script, so that could be really confusing.
Right.
But Bruce Campbell's also come out and said, like, I've been hearing this like every 6 months for the last 10-15 years. So until I see he says I'm still up for doing it, and if he phones me and says go, it's I'm in. But he kind of says he threatens it every 6 months. He says. So I don't know how much truth is in it. Obviously, Raimi's out on the circuit with Oz just now, so maybe it's just something else to say in an interview when they ask him about it. But that'd be quite interesting to see. Like, it'd be quite weird to have like two of the basically the same franchise going.
Right.
I mean, completely separated now, because I mean, Army of Darkness is even that film's like miles away from Evil Dead. Not miles away, but it's a completely different take on it. But I'm really keen. You gonna go and see the remake? Do you think? No bored.
I'll see what the reviews are like. I haven't seen any reviews of them, but
I mean, it does seem to be. Well, I mean, most of them like kind of 9 out of 10 and that kind of thing. Saying that it's terrifying is one of the quotes. But that's not like a box blurb quote. It's like saying that it is genuinely like a worthy remake. Kind of like has enough of the original and some kind of new like kind of extreme horror kind of stuff. So I'm still excited about it, and I have been since it was announced. So everyone remember that when they'll jump on the bandwagon. I knew it was going to be good. No, but I'm quite excited about that. I think it's 19th of April it comes out, so I'll be there. Moving on. Shall we hit something else, Gary?
Right.
Keep it going. Keep it nice and random. No, what we're going to do next. What we're going to do next, Gary? Big ups, aye.
Right, yeah.
Right. Will I go first?
Aye.
Cool. I've brought some with me. Not all. So I'll get a fair wee few this time. So I'll start with I get the 3 for £17 on Amazon.
Oh, aye, yeah.
Just a couple of things. I've got 10 Things I Hate About You. It's alright, more for the wife really. I do like that film, but she really likes that film. Some interesting kind of retrospective stuff on it, you know, with it after Heath Ledger's death and things like that. Swingers.
Right.
Yeah. Seen that film?
I have seen it.
Yeah.
It's alright, yeah. First 20 minutes is amazing. Then
I felt it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I like the kind of I like the way it was shot, and you know, the kind of, I think they did a bit of kind of like not really meant to be filming in the casino and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like the spy cam almost, but they didn't really. They just went in and didn't tell anyone they were filming. With that, I also got Flash Gordon Steelbook, which is nice. Blu-ray and the audio CD as well for the soundtrack. So picked that up, and I was kind of looking after. I kind of picked it up because I'd always kind of wanted it. It's a cheesy film, right? But I'd always wanted it. And then I noticed like that there's some special features on it. There's a commentary with the director, but I found out there was other additions. You know, like the US one has like certain things on it, but the UK Silver Edition had like a Brian Blessed interview. Do you know Brian Blessed? Yeah. And apparently like it was pretty good commentary. So I picked up, which I didn't know, the steelbook of the Silver Edition, Anniversary Edition as well. Got that pretty cheap. That was only like £6 or something like that. I didn't even know this existed. The first one I saw was actually a signed copy by Brian Blessed.
Right.
But I didn't manage to win that.
Right.
But it's pretty nice. So I picked that up. There you go. Flash Gordon in it. What else did I pick up? I got Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3.
Right.
I've been kind of wary about buying them for a while because Warner bought over the Paramount catalogue, as we were mentioning before, and it looked like they had re-released them, and I wasn't sure. It didn't seem to say like, you know, whether it was still in 3D, the third part. You know, I wanted 3D glasses and stuff like that, but I can confirm that it is the same release. It simply had like a new barcode on the cellophane, kind of thing. Only thing is, if anyone cares, the 3D glasses on the back of the box looks as if they're stylized in the hockey mask kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas the ones with this release, I don't know, but if it's different than the original releases, are just plain white 3D glasses. But I don't really care about that. So, but anyway, that's fine. I was up at the HMV in Bray, Silverburn.
Oh yeah.
The Brayhead.
Right.
Yeah. And they seem to be becoming kind of like a kind of shutting down kind of bonanza of money off and things like that. So I got I Spit in Your Grave, the Ultimate Edition, slip box thingy. I got Argento's Terror at the Opera from Arrow. Christmas Evil, which I'd wanted at Christmas, but I couldn't manage to get. I got that for like, I think it was like £7, and it was like 50% off, so like £3.50. So got Island of Death as well finally.
Oh, did you?
Yep, got it. Again, I think that was 11, so £5.50.
Right.
Same with Terror at the Opera. I mean, it's pretty good. I got Bubba Hotep.
Right.
You know, the Don Cascarelli, I think it is, film with Bruce Campbell. Got that for £3.50 as well. That's pretty good. What else did I pick up? And like as I was saying, Play do certain offers like on a daily thing.
Right. Okay.
And it was the steelbook I was going to get a while ago. I don't know if you've ever seen Zombieland.
Yeah.
I've got it in Blu-ray already, but I saw the steelbook and it had like the rules on the in the back and stuff, and it was like $8.99. But I think it was the cheapest it's been on this one thing from Place. I just picked that up as well. Leading the Tramp, picked that up finally.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, I've been trying to get that for a while. I managed to get that off eBay with slipcover and stuff.
Right,
So
nice.
True Blood season 4. Again, that's something me and the wife watch, but
Right.
I picked it up, so I may as well see it. It's good. It's shot in 16mm. Looks pretty good in HD. It's actually now season 4 on was shot by Dave Klein, the guy that shot Clerks and, and that. So he's the cinematographer. Else. When I was in HMV in Air, like I come back down and I finally managed to get Suicide Club.
Alright.
Which is one I've been trying to get for a while, or want to see for a while, but it's just been released in the UK.
Right.
And it's the first like anamorphic print. I was reading up this was it Cine du Monde is a relatively new label in the UK. And they've been kind of putting out this kind of stuff. And the guy, I read an interview with the guy that's the kind of the head guy, and he was saying they had one to put a Blu-ray out of this, but the print that's available everywhere is like they haven't. He says that the company that owns it didn't want to pay for like a restoration,
right,
or like a new print to be made. So it's kind of, he said it wouldn't there'd been no point in putting it on Blu-ray. But I'm quite interested to see this. I'd quite like to cover this at some point in the future in the podcast. It's meant to be pretty decent. It's actually a reversible cover as well. It's got that on the front cover with yeah. You just have to imagine what that is, people at home. But yeah, it's only got a trailer with it. But as I say, I think it's only anamorphic DVD that's out there for that. So also picked up Obsession Arrow, Brian De Palma one. That was like $7.20. It was down to like the lowest price I've seen it ever. It's back up now, like I think to like 16 or something like that on Amazon. But it's quite nice. It's like a thicker than usual slipcover, and it's got like this full script in there and stuff in the book. So it's really nice. I don't know if it's any good. It's just, a lot of people seem to like it, and I want to see Vertigo before I see this because I think it's.
Alright, is that another one of these Hitchcock rip-offs?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of De Palma.
I'm not really either, but this had been quoted from Arrow saying that this was going out of print.
Oh,
and they're going to stop doing the script with it. So I saw it for $7.20. As I say, it was flagged up on Blu-ray.com as down to $7.20 or something like that, and I was like, I'm just going to get that. So thought, fuck it. And this last one was a kind of fuck it as well. I had put like a price tracker on this for below £7, I think, on Blu-ray.com because I was never going to get it unless it came to that price, and it eventually dropped, and I just got it to complete my Argento Arrow collection, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I've seen the film and I've got like a version of it, but it doesn't have. This has the commentary and stuff like that was released in the US one as well. So I figured there's nothing else I could watch the special features, even though that the aspect ratios.
Yeah, what's the name of that again?
Univisium.
Right.
Worse than that, like honestly, I thought it was meant to look pretty good. The print was meant to be good, but it was just the fact that it was fucked up thingy. But like to me, like on the transfer looks really like almost digital.
Oh, really?
Noise, not noise, like artifacting. You know what I mean? I've seen I've had access to the US version, and it's like a nice, just how you'd expect it. You know what I mean? It's like grainy, shows its age a bit, but it's not a perfect transfer. But it's it's nice enough. Whereas this, I don't know, it looks quite. Maybe it's because it's a wee bit zoomed in. I don't really know what I mean. It looks kind of nasty in bits. So, but I figured I always planned to get the US one or a US version at one point, and it was like £6 something. So I thought, bugger it, may as well get it.
May as well.
And that's me, I think. Let me have a wee look back down through. Yeah, that's us.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you've got a bigger haul than me this time, Simon.
I kept looking at it thinking, what, you know. It just seems to be getting more and more. And that's how I knew it when we put some food done the podcast.
What did I get?
What did you get, Gary?
I've got Onibaba,
Oh yes,
the new release from Masters of Cinema on Blu-ray. Got Barton Fink
right.
on Blu-ray.
I had thought about getting that
Right.
actually. Like, is that just been released or?
And I think it was last year it came
Right,
out.
right. I think it just must have flagged up on Blu.com at one point.
Right. Yeah, it's actually one of my favourite Coen Brothers films.
Yeah, I think it's the first one I
Right.
saw.
It's one that's kind of under the radar. It doesn't get the hype of like Fargo or Big Lebowski.
Sure.
I think it's probably maybe their best. So got that for $4.95, including shipping. Is that right on Amazon? Marketplace.
What's the special features like on it?
Bare bones.
Right.
Got this, the Magic Lantern Cycle, the Kenneth Anger collection from the BFI. I think it's basically it's got what 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of these films. I haven't seen any of them, but was quite intrigued to get it. I think it's like sort of short experimental films. I know he was an influence on Scorsese.
Right.
I think he was like one of the first guys to use like source music, like popular tunes in his films. So I got that at the HMV sale for a decent price, $12.40. One other Blu-ray I got, the Metropolis Steelbook, Massive Cinema. Yeah,
you're trying to get that for a while.
Aye.
You had the non-steelbook, but you wanted the.
So I finally got one on eBay. Goes for a pretty penny these days. Just completely out of print because of the fires at the London riots. I think took out a lot of their stock, and then they never repressed it. So, so glad to have that.
That's good.
And finally, I got this DVD, MGM When the Lion Roars. It's a documentary about the history of MGM.
Right. Okay.
So I quite like these retrospective documentaries about the different studios. I've seen a few of them, so it's quite good. Halfway through that, so hosted by Patrick Stewart.
Oh really? The captain himself, eh? Or Professor X, if you prefer.
Well, aye.
That's always played.
Right.
It was Captain Ahab as well once.
Oh, right.
Yes. And Scrooge. Played Ebenezer Scrooge once in a version of the Christmas Carol. Any more Patrick Stewart facts you need? He also did the voiceover for the beginning of Ted.
All right.
Yeah, right. Because he's affiliated with Seth MacFarlane he does a voice in The American Dad.
Right.
Anything else, Gary?
That's all I've got.
No, I just mean you want any more Patrick Stewart facts?
All right.
No?
All right.
All right.
Okay, so that will wrap up this episode.
Yeah. We're gonna try and get back on schedule.
Yes.
More often. We've let it slip a wee bit, Gary.
Aye.
But that's all right. It's okay. I mean, not too bad. But we're gonna get back on it a wee bit. I think
we should.
Maybe.
So if you've seen our schedule, which we put up on our Facebook page, you'll know what's coming next.
So
if
we're
you
not going
haven't
to
seen
bother
it,
telling you this time.
You might not have seen it right enough.
Sure. So if you've not seen it, we're going to do the Smurfs.
Right.
Yep, that's the one.
In 3D. Is it?
I've
just doing the 2D.
Well,
the 2D.
You get a 3D telly?
No. See, so.
What are you talking about, Gary?
Right.
Promise things you can't deliver. You're a big tease, you.
Yeah.
Aye. No, only joking, folks. What are we doing next, Gary?
It's Irreversible.
Irreversible. We've talked
other children's classic.
Yes. Irresmurfable. We've spoken about this film in relation to other films many times.
Yep.
So most likely we'll have nothing to say
about
this film. But I've only seen it once, so it'll be interesting to revisit it.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be one of the only films that we've done that I've seen before we do the podcast, but I think there are a couple that I've seen before. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out for the next episode. Give us a like on Facebook, drop us a line. Any comments?
Sends an email.
Yeah,
if you feel the urge.
Yeah.
Sends an email if you feel like it.
The urge. Oh, aye, oh, aye. Oh, fuck, aye. Well, he was ready for an email, and I will reply to it, or Gary will reply to it.
What's the Facebook address?
I said it already.
Did you? Alright.
Oh, it's facebook.com/cinema subculture.
That's right.
What was the email address again, Gary?
cinema_subculture@hotmail.com.
.com. It's actually just it's .com.
Right.
But if you want to brush your hair with it, Gary, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, so hit us up. I think that's us out, Gary. What do you think?
I think so.
Let's take us out to the end, Gary. End the show. End the show with a bang, a big bang.
Okay, so join us next time on Cinema Subculture. Thanks for listening, and
you big stream.